Welcome to Curious Chimps podcast. I'm your co-host Nathaniel Pearl.
And I'm Sami Sheva.
And welcome.
We here at Curious Chimps are law-abiding citizens. We do not endorse anything illegal. And anything we discuss is for entertainment and not information purposes. We are not experts, and nor do we claim to be. So please, consult doctors, do your research, read the label, and for the love of all that is holy, be safe. All right, let's talk about drugs.
Curious Chimps.
Boom.
We did it.
Okay. Yo, so I'll tell you about last night. I went to
Sound like
the
monkeys.
zombie exhibit. Zombie exhibit. Wow. I don't know why I fucking categorized that.
You didn't rap it this morning, I can
No.
tell.
The zombie exhibit. That would be a cool fucking exhibit.
I was so curious after you said that. What the fuck is the zombie exhibit? Okay, what did
Mummy
you actually
exhibit.
go? Okay,
the,
mummy.
The Egyptian exhibit downtown. It was fucking
Oh, dude,
cool.
I went to that.
You went?
It's still there?
Yeah, it's
been
there for like 2 months, 3 months.
No, it's been there for longer.
Okay, it's done in, I think...
Or maybe they moved it.
Is
There's
that
a
the
few.
Museum Palais de Fine Arts, whatever?
Is it the kind of like old port near the water styles? Not old port, but like near like Charlevoix and shit like that?
It's on
like,
Sherbrooke, downtown.
No, okay, yeah, this is a different.
Okay.
They must have just moved it.
Yeah. Wow, what a cool thing, eh?
Oh, dude, it was trippy as fuck.
Yeah.
To see like some real shit, you know, like it looks like stuff out of a movie.
Yeah.
It just looks like I mean, I'm sure a lot of it is replicas and recreations and shit, but it's still really cool to see like
Fucking
the
insane.
designs and the little, like sometimes they show you these little statues and shit, and it's like made out of jade or something, or like combs and mirrors, and you're like, dude, this is so cool.
Yeah. And
This
there's
is some
just like the
ancient
tablets too, and like all the scriptures on it. I'm like, wow, that's fucking intense.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Like the attention to detail they all had in what they were doing. It's like, it just shows how powerful ritual is, and like how much respect they had for everything they did.
It's artistry, but it's like limited experience. You know, I feel like someone who's a sculptor today, they have so much to work off of, and to be really imaginative is like harder. You know, like you almost have to consciously start walking away from the circle of thought that's like common to people. But then there's just obviously this art style, you know, like these fucking like coyote-headed motherfuckers, or like some bird guy with a big sun on his fucking head or whatever. Yeah. And obviously the writing is like, the hieroglyphs, you know, are very picturesque. That's not the right word, but they're very like image based.
Yeah, it's like their version of emojis.
Yeah, I love that comparison all the time, because
so
it's like
crazy.
we're going back to that in a way.
Yeah,
but we're not. Emojis are like very functional, but very limited. It's like it stays.
I think
a
we're
joke.
talking from our perspective. I think the generations under are probably using it way more than we think.
Maybe. I mean, there's this character on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I fucking love this show, but her name's Gina Linetti, and she's the best thing on all of television. And she starts at some point in like mid some season, she starts talking in emojis, because she says that like current English language is too limited for her expression, and she'll just like say like winky face or something like in her conversation. It's fucking horrible, but like she sells it.
Some of those emojis are better than words. You know, some of them that can literally illustrate what you're thinking better. It's crazy. Even
a string of them also, like I don't know, if you ever go on Tinder and someone just like lazies out on their profile and they just put a string of emojis, if you actually look at them,
there's a lot of meaning behind them.
Yeah, like it builds a little story. There's a little sequence. Sometimes they just put up what they like, you know, and they just like tick, 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 a bunch of emojis. But sometimes you get a lot out of a series of pictures. And I mean, speed readers, that's what they do with words, is they look at the chunk of the half a sentence or the word, and they just blast through it. They don't read out loud in their head. So they're just catching all the information quickly. So you're doing that even faster by looking at like one thing is like, I don't know, like a girl like going, I don't know, like with her palms up, you know, and then there's like another thing after that, and then suddenly there's like 10 contexts that are possible. So then the third thing becomes, it's like a complex sentence. It's crazy.
And then you just see the what's that vegetable called?
Eggplant.
The eggplant with the water.
The aubergine.
And then you know something's going down.
Hey man, everybody likes sex. I mean, most people like sex.
Hopefully, yeah.
Even the people who are like asexual for real, which I don't get it, but like I've met a few and I'm like, okay, I believe you.
What is asexual?
They never get horny. They're not attracted particularly to like males, females, anything. They're just like, whatever. One guy I heard of, I didn't meet him. He was one of the dudes who was interviewed for the like just send people off to Mars thing, and it was a fun documentary. And he says that he just has no interest in sex. He just masturbates like every now and then for his prostate, like for health. Like it's just this useful thing. And it's like, bro, you are missing the point.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
That's someone that you can trust to send to Mars, though.
I don't know if I can.
I
want to see someone exactly. I want to see someone who has a sex drive but is repressing it consciously.
Yeah.
Whereas this guy is just
fucking
like doesn't
loses
have
his
it.
shit one day.
But that was my point, though. Is that guy is the sex result of people, so he has to appreciate sex on some level. Also, like everyone is just like sex is awesome, unless someone just got horribly traumatized or hates humanity. They're like, we got to weed this sex thing out and just use like genetic something, test tube baby something, you know.
Who knows? Maybe that's the future.
Yeah,
that's gonna be
We've talked about that. What was that movie Demolition Man, where they just put the headsets on and they fuck in cyberspace?
Wow. Yeah. There's a lot of movies like that.
That's weird.
You've seen Ready Player One.
Yeah, what, they fuck in cyberspace?
At some point, I think they would, but there was just like that online game that just everyone was playing all day with their VR set.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's a lot of romantic, because it's like haptic.
Yeah, and
feedback.
he fell in love with the girl in the game, but spoiler alert. But in real life, they met and it was the same thing.
But she's like, real spoiler alert. She's disfigured. She's like,
she had a little
bit. In real
bit
life, she has. Disfigured. In the movie, it's like she has a little birthmark or something.
Yeah.
But in the book, she's probably got like a gash on her face or something.
That's right. It was a book before.
Yeah, apparently it was good.
Wow. Okay, I didn't even know that.
It's a good movie, but book was better. I know that's like a fucking cliche, but
really,
considering the movie was really fun,
okay.
If the book was better, it's like fuck, bro.
Speaking of altered states, let's talk about dreams today, man.
Yes, I forgot. Yeah, dude, you know, okay. Off topic, actually, but I created an acronym in my brain because the way I learned like a simple breakdown of yoga is to have the like 5 points covered, and it's diet, relaxation, exercise, breathing, and meditation.
Okay.
And if I change breathing to air, then I can spell dream.
Okay.
Diet, relaxation, exercise, air, and meditation.
Damn. Yeah.
Life is but a dream, baby. Yeah, we've been fucking holding out on this topic for a little while because it's something I can rant about a little bit.
I know, and maybe I'll talk about my first experience with a lucid dream.
Oh yeah, please.
And how it changed my whole perspective of sleep. I never knew that was actually possible.
What?
Yeah, and I
would start with that.
I was reading about it. I was like hearing things about on podcasts, people talking about lucid dreams, how they can kind of control, and I never understood the concept. But I wouldn't say it was 100% lucid because I wasn't in control, but I was self-aware. It was really odd. So I'll just get into it. Dreams always start off weird, you know.
Any storytelling, position, like places, your body, things change randomly. It's so hard to have
constant. It's fractal. It's always changing. So it was me and my ex. We were running from zombies in a garage.
Fucking zombies.
Yeah. Yeah, they were running from them and they were chasing us, and we're just freaking out. We're like, what the fuck? We're just chasing. They're chasing through this dark garage, and then we get into this elevator, and like the elevator was closing as we were getting in, and we got in, and then all you hear is like the ding, and then the doors open, and everyone was laughing at me in the elevator because that whole scene was just a daydream. I was just staring at the door and I was just imagining zombies. And everyone's like, what the fuck's going on? And then my girlfriend, my ex, my ex now, she's like, are you okay? Like, what happened? I'm like, whoa, I don't know. I just had a crazy daydream. And she's like, okay, let's go like
Like
shop.
a daymare.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like a dream in a dream, you know?
Yeah.
So then, so she's like, let's go shopping. I'm like, I remember the feeling. It's crazy. Everything was so odd and weird, and I was aware how odd and weird it was, you know? And I'm like, what was that daydream? That was so fucking weird. Like, I was in the elevator and I just like was somewhere else. And she's like, come on, come with me. I'm like, okay, so we're going through this mall, and the mall is fucking like futuristic, beautiful stores, everything. It's like just a gorgeous mall, you know? Cool. And I'm walking with her, and I'm like, Steph, this kind of looks strange. Like, what's going on here? Am I dreaming? She's like, what's wrong with you? You're being so weird today. Come. She's pulling me.
Fucking dream sprites. Never ask them if you're dreaming.
And I'm
They're liars.
They're all against you in those.
They're all in on it, bro.
It's true. And so we walk by this one store, and there's like a mirror, and I see the mirror, and I'm like, what the fuck? I go closer. I'm looking at myself, and I realize I don't have glasses on, but I see clearly. I'm like, oh, this is something weird. Something's fucking weird. I'm like, Steph, and she's looking at me. She's like, come on, let's go. What's wrong with you? I'm like, no, I'm not wearing glasses, and I can see. I'm definitely in a dream. And she's like, okay, you're really starting to annoy me. Come on. So then we're just walking, and I'm just seeing weird shit, like some things I can't remember, but I'm like, okay, that's impossible. Like, how's that happening? And we just keep walking.
Like, am I dreaming?
It was just a constant dialogue with myself. Like, am I dreaming? Is this real? So then we go down the escalator. It's amazing how well I remember this dream still. And because I also wrote it, as soon as I woke up, I wrote it in my psychedelic journal.
Nice.
Yeah, because I freaked out. So we go down this escalator, and it's like really slow, and we hear noise like waterfall, you know? And we go down, and there's just this giant pool. The whole floor is a pool with slides, and you swim to stores. And like it's like a whole other concept. And I'm like, nah, that's a fucking dream. And then I just wake up.
This is real.
I wake up into this vibration paralysis. It's always when I have paralysis, I hear that kind of vibration sound.
Okay.
And then I wake up, I'm like, that was a fucking dream. And I was panicking. I was like, that was more real than this moment. And I start writing it down word for word what happened. So that was like my closest touch on a lucid dream. But I wasn't in control. I was aware though.
That's as good as I get. I mean, once you practice a few times, then you can start playing with the space because you're like, okay, I'm sure I'm dreaming. And then you jump out a window or something. Like, you know you're dreaming. You're not going to do that in real life. But you just start taking risks or start trying to manipulate things and stuff happens, and like you're still on a ride. You're never like, there's a lot of people who describe crazy levels of control, but for me it's just like I feel like my brain starts getting more aware that I'm awake in the dream, and it keeps trying to like trick me and fuck with me more, and it kind of like one-ups me all the time, and I have to kind of one-up myself or one-up my brain. I don't know what I'm saying, but what's cool is how many tips and tricks are in that story, because like, okay, a lot of people saw the movie Inception. A few things were right in that movie. One of them being like, you can't really remember how you got there, so to speak, like quote unquote. So you had that weird, frightening moment, like that daydream, and then you passed through a threshold, which was the elevator. Yeah. And it resets your brain, which like kind of happens in real life, and then you're having a hard time like putting the two together. So your brain, like, it seems like it's a dream. These people are laughing at you because it's like it was like fake in the dream. Like that caused you to look back and think like, how did I get there, kind of thing. So you're already starting that process. Yeah. Then a mirror is also a really good trick. Like looking at your hands, looking at a clock or like your watch or something, trying to read at all. And, mirrors especially, like, and lighting also. Like, these are all these things that happen in the left brain. I mean, like, left brain, right brain, like this is a misnomer. Like, I know this is bullshit, but like, for the sake of the simplification of the conversation, let's just say that there's a lot of stuff your left brain does to create detail in your life, and a lot of your visual experience has to do with like coloring and lighting and things like that. Like, you see that optical illusion where it's like two squares that are the same color, but one of them is like behind a shadow or something, so your brain makes it look darker, but if you put them next to each other, they're actually the same color. All that kind of shit. Your left brain's going crazy creating your experience, and your right brain is like smashing it all together, and who knows what else. So the dreaming part, like, your brain shuts a lot of that stuff off so that you don't figure out that you're dreaming. And looking in a mirror, you're going to see something. You might see like a clear distortion, like you can see even though you don't have your glasses, but like your face might look different, your body might look different. It might look like a funhouse mirror. Like, everybody's different. Yeah, it was definitely like a funhouse mirror, I remember. And just the fact that I was seeing perfectly with my no glasses, I knew something was off. Yeah. You know? That's a big one for me too. That's funny, because after that dream, I started reading on tips on how to induce lucid dreaming, and it was like tips like, during the day, just look at your watch. And look at it twice. Look at it twice? Every time. Like, that's what got me into lucid dreaming as deep as possible. Let's say getting lucid dreams more often. We could go down the whole thing, I guess we'll touch on things naturally as we go throughout the conversation. But the problem with any of these tricks is that you have to start remembering your dreams. A lot of people who smoke weed don't dream as much, and or if you drink before you go to bed, also, like, you're not going into the deeper states.
Yeah.
Some people eat a little bit of sugar and it makes them dream, but it might go more in the nightmare department depending on your physiology. But a dream journal, like you have a psychedelic journal, like if you can wake up and write down what you remember, you will exponentially start remembering more dreams, and then you can start, like, training yourself to recognize when you're dreaming so that it'll bleed into the dream space.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good tip. Just
it's almost necessary.
Yeah, because now you're becoming more conscious of it because you're constantly writing about it. Then that's forcing thought about it.
Yeah, it's like a blind spot. You wake up and I mean, like, I don't know where to start. I feel like just ranting, but it's like
we'll flow with it.
Okay, the way dreams work is like your body is paralyzed chemically, and your brain is like, okay, you had all these ambitions throughout the day, and we saved them like a fucking hard drive. We're gonna blank all that shit. Like it's just an evolutionary process. Like, we need to have ambitions. We need to go. I want to do that, and then you do it, and you hold on to that thought. But the problem is you keep holding on to that thought, and you want to kind of like make space. And what's cool is that, like, I don't fully understand how all this works. Obviously, I've just like read some articles and stuff. But apparently, there's this like chemical thing that happens in your brain while you're sleeping, and it reinforces your neurons. And what happens is what you've learned gets strengthened, and what you're experiencing in the dreams gets weakened. You can't make new connections. So it's like your brain gets solidified as you sleep. So that's why people say, like, pulling an all-nighter is actually bad for your test results, because it's better to study and then sleep so that you can assimilate.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, a lot of people, I think, are
back in massage school. We used to fuck that up.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, but I mean, if you hammer it out, like if you pull an all-nighter, but you also studied a lot in the past, I think you'll be okay. But if you try to cram, you need that sleep for sure.
It's true. You're not registering at that point.
And then a refresher in the morning would be perfect. Anyway, so what your brain is doing for real is like recreating a world of stimuli, and also recreating you, and putting you in that stimuli like a fucking matrix, like for real. So and it's so real that it has to paralyze your body chemically, because you will flail around in your sleep like you think you're there.
It's true.
And the purpose of all that is, like I said, it's like your brain is making you act out things. And that's why there's a lot of symbolism in dreams, because the ambition is abstract. You might want to like jump over a river or something, but then in your dream you I don't know, you like have you drop something. I don't know, like or you go down some stairs. Like the thing that's making you feel needs to be experienced and concluded. Yeah. The actual act is kind of irrelevant.
Yeah. And it never happens to how you kind of want it, like jumping over the river and you're doing something completely different, but you're wanting to jump over the river. It's just not going to go. It's kind of like when you're having a fist fight in a dream. It's like all of a sudden your punches are heavy and slow and you're not actually hitting it. That's very common.
I think, again, it's just articles and shit that I read, but I think what's happening is that you're waking up a little bit. You become very excited and you're trying, like, you suddenly become aware of your body, which is not moving. Yeah. So you're fighting and you have rapid movements, or like just crazy fast muscle memory. You're just, like, running also. It becomes so like sludgy and stiff. Yeah. Because your heart rate gets elevated and you start waking up and you start becoming body aware, and your brain's like, my legs aren't moving. So then you're like, hey, why can't it run away?
Yeah. That's an odd dream when that happens. It's just, it's very scary sometimes.
It's weird. But what's fun is that people interpret the same things in a lot of different ways. And there's a lot of dream signs, they call them, that are common to people. Like your teeth will fall out, or like you won't have pants at school, or some trope like that. Or like flying dreams are a perfect example, because people experience flying in different ways. One fucking douche is going to flap his arms and then that's going to work. Another person's going to like fart and it's going to make them fly up. Another person is going to like hold their breath. Another person's going to jump or just stick their arms out like Superman or something. Like
different person to person.
Yeah, and it's because there's no analog to it in real life. It's like, how the fuck do you fly?
Is a dream also your unconscious mind? You're sorting through all the unconscious stuff that's been stored?
I feel like it's a mishmash. It's like the ambitions thing I said, but filtered through your unconscious. So there's a lot of you and like the sub you, the dark web you that's like coloring your dreamscape. It's interesting.
What's odd is like, you know, that saying, we've all said it to each other, we've all done it. It's like, just sleep on it and decide tomorrow or something. You heard that advice countless of times in your life, but it actually does something.
100%.
And I don't know what that is, but taking that time and just going to sleep, and then you think about it in the morning, and all of a sudden it's a different perspective.
I think there's something to be said about like the inherent unconscious processing that happens during sleep, but also I think people make bad decisions in the moment sometimes when you're in an acute state and you're very happy or very scared or whatever. It's better to just like, hey, like you're flooded with ideas now, and you're not you know. So let's pause this, and then you wake up tomorrow and you go, oh, and you have that moment where you like forget everything, and then it all comes flooding back, and then make a decision because you have a different perspective. So I think there's something to be said about that also. But yeah, I'm sure
something in the unconscious level is kind of sorting out, you know. It's kind of the files are going back in the cabinets.
Think about it like I said about the ambition thing. Like a lot of fears might just kind of get played out during your dream. A lot of people use lucid dreaming to play out scenarios in real life and to even recreate and reshape traumas like we talked about in the other podcast. And it's very cathartic. There's this one girl who I met in India, and she had a life-changing experience in a dream because she was, I think, did I talk about it on the podcast yet? But anyway, I'll make it short. But she had this, she wasn't lucid yet, but she's like leaving a club in her dream, and she's with friends. And then they're all in the back, and someone's driving like an Uber or something. And I don't know why, but she realizes she's dreaming.
Okay.
And she goes, oh shit, you know, like, you know what would be fun? Let's just die. Let's just like try to die, because she's sure she's safe now. There's no danger. Worst case, she wakes up. And so she goes, like, suddenly the like she's telling the driver what to do. Her friends are screaming like bloody murder because they think they're gonna die, but she knows they're not even really there, you know. So she's just laughing her ass off like a psychopath. And they're driving down this steep street, and then it just like turns into like a ramp and then crashes into the water. And so long story short, like she does it, she experiences death essentially in her dream, and that's very cathartic. But what she realized later is that was mimicking her first childhood fears of death, because she used to live on like imagine that down ramp like that. Like she used to live on a house that was like on this street touching water, and every time they used to drive down, she had this irrational fear that they would just like the brakes wouldn't work and they would drive right through the house and crash into the water.
So years later she worked through that
without even really realizing it, and like until like ipso facto kind of thing, she realized later.
I'm wondering if someone's having like reoccurring dreams, like nightmares, let's say.
I've had a few. They make no sense. I will not get into them here. I promise, guys.
You can't say that. You got to tell me.
I can nutshell one of them. That's actually like, kind of cool.
But when that happens, how do you get to a lucid state to work through them? Because sometimes they can literally overtake you, you know?
I think it depends on the nature, because I had one reoccurring one that was like images. I had no body. I had no sense of self. I was just like experiencing. It was very short also. It was just kind of like shots of like an ambulance that had crashed into like a pond, and the door was open, and it was like a friend of mine, this old friend from grade school named Pamela, and she was just like in the Gertie thing. And she was like dead, but her eyes were open. Oof. Yeah, and like as a kid, I was scared because it's like like a lot of TV shows, like they close the eyes, or the person's eyes just close. It's like a cheesy death scene. Open. Yeah, but then you start watching some crazy shows where like the person's eyes are just wide open still, and I'm just like a kid. I'm like, are they dead? Don't your eyes close when you die? It's like, not necessarily. But it was like a horror show. It was like a really, and I don't know how to be lucid in that. No. I mean, it was just kind of like this, but you're going in and out of states during the dream state. Like you would notice that as well if you're lucid. Like your brain is like fireworks. Things are just going on, and you're gonna, even though you're lucid, you might have low ambition and a lot of inhibition. You might have very low inhibition, like worse than drunk. you suddenly realize you're lucid, and then you just like have sex with the nearest person, or you just go flying, or just like shoot fireballs at your hands.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, you just go full Godzilla. Like you just, whatever you just feel like doing in the moment just starts coming out of you, and you can't stop yourself, because you're like, it's funny to think like who we think we are is just a piece of our brain, and a kind of like an amalgamation and a kind of fireworks in its own right, and that's being like slapped together for you to experience dreams. So you're not fully you. Sometimes you're not even you at all. Sometimes you're just not even you. You have a complete other set of memories, another person, another body.
It's so odd. It's crazy.
It's fucking crazy, man. I've been multiple people at once. That was fucking trippy. I was myself in my house, but my house was like mirrored sort of and distorted, and it felt like a long time had passed by, like a year. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I can't
Those
explain.
time distortion ones are a real mindfuck, you know?
It's like time and memory. Because another thing that happens is false awakenings. This is the craziest thing I learned about lucid dreaming. One of the craziest things. Because what happens is your brain is like, it starts adapting to the fact that you're getting into lucid dreaming. You know, like you become aware that you're dreaming, and then your brain goes like, oh shit, he knows he's dreaming, like slap the reboot button. And then you wake up. You're still in your dream, like super duper Inception style. Wow. But you wake up and you think, you're like, oh, I was just dreaming, but I'm awake now for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck the brain figured that out.
That's kind of probably what happened to me in that dream with the zombies chasing us. And I kind of just woke up in the elevator.
Yeah, it's like a reboot. But it didn't work in the brain's favor. It's like, it was too weird.
Yeah, it made no sense. Yeah. Like in an elevator,
But that's what I mean by the break in like continuity of the person and the false memories. Like one time I woke up, like I had a false awakening, but it's so hard to explain. It's like I was in the future, and I was like a half robot, half man thing, and I was waking up from a nap, and I was in a crowd, and it's like we were part of the press, and we were like getting a story because someone was doing like a public announcement or something. Like it was this entire other reality. Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, I was sleeping, you know, like all I was worried about was me in the moment, and Sami didn't exist. That was like the guy who dreams a butterfly thing. I always forget his name, but it's like, who's the fucking real guy at that point? Is the butterfly dreaming me, or am I dreaming the butterfly?
So you're literally just dreaming a storyline, and you're not even involved.
Yeah, and like the details don't matter, especially when you just wake up. You're in a fog anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like your brain recreates that fog to get you back on track of just like shut up and keep dreaming kind of thing.
It's crazy. When I first moved out, I had a dream. It was so fucking terrifying, but it makes so much sense. New environment, new space, out of my comfort zone. You know, the risk of actual fear of your safety is probably working in the background.
You're gonna dream. You're gonna sleep less good just being in a hotel room or something, and you might have nightmares or dream like a little more. Yeah,
and I remember the dream was my apartment was, you know, my apartment's one level up. There's a balcony. It was actually sous-sol under the ground, and the window was just like the street.
Yeah,
like already you can tell like dreams already fuck around with things, and. I see across the street, this is like at 2 a.m., there's a sniper, and he's just walking back and forth, shooting at our windows. And I'm like, fuck, Ariel, you gotta take cover.
What the fuck?
And he's just loading and shooting and always missing, but like by an inch, you know? Like no matter where you would run, it's always like right by your ear. And I remember I was hiding under the window, so there's like a little brick barrier, but it's supposed to be underground, but for some reason he was able to shoot through it. And it was going on like that for maybe the whole dream.
Magic JFK bullets.
Yeah, recoiling everywhere. Or maybe there's a second shooter. But that dream made so much sense. Like I woke up from it obviously in a state of panic, but it was like, fuck, I'm in a new environment. Like my mind is going through exhausting all possibilities. But maybe now that you're saying that with your friend with the water, maybe that was my way of working through my fear of moving out. Because after that, I never had that dream again, and I kind of felt better. But
that's it. It was like a deep anxiety.
It's just like everything into this scenario, so you get through it realizing it's silly, you know?
Yeah, you get to live it, and then and in a way, it's cathartic on many levels because you went through it. You got to see how you'd handle it, sort of in some weird way. But also, you kind of get to wake up and go, oh, that was just a dream.
Yeah, and
which in itself is nice.
That just pack the bag. I'm like, okay, there's nothing to be afraid. It's a stupid. It made like laughing at my anxiety. It's basically what I got out of it.
It was over the top in a sense.
Yeah, it's like, okay, chill out, chill the fuck out. You know?
A lot of people have panic dreams though, where I've had this too, where it's like it's kind of real. It's like a real scenario, real people. Maybe there's something a little bit off, but it's not so fantastical. Like it's not so dreamlike. It's really just like you living a memory or living a future anxiety. And
those are shitty dreams, man.
it doesn't happen to me often. My dreams are fucking weird, man. They're so crazy. It's almost like my brain needs to work harder to trick me now. Like or you know what? You know what it is? Part of recognizing that you're dreaming is knowing what your dream signs are. And we talked about common dream signs because of the left brain thing I talked about earlier. So the things that people share is going to be the distortion in your hands. If you look at your hands, you know, you might have two right hands or something fucking weird. You look at your watch and then you look at it again. It's 7:30. Suddenly it's 12:15.
Something's off. Yeah.
Or that you can't even read them. You look at a book and it's like, if you look at a sign and it's like big letters, you can figure out what it says. But if you try to read a book, fuck, dude, it's not going to look normal. Yeah. So those are common dream signs. If you try to flick the lights on and off really fast, you won't even be able to. You're going to think something's wrong with the light switch because everything's switching quickly, all the shading and lighting, like I said, your left brain is working hard to figure all that shit out. And it's not going to switch really fast in a dream because then you're going to notice all the mistakes. Yeah. So your brain's working hard to make the dream, but it's cutting out the analytical part of your brain. Yeah. So those are common dream signs. But there are unique dream signs, and that's what you start finding out when you're doing your dream journal. And one of the biggest reoccurring ones for me was groups of friends, video games in any form. Like it looks like I'm playing a video game. It feels like I'm playing a video game. I'm looking at myself in third person, or just a physical, like a console, a controller, a CD, like a cartridge, like something about video games, and also just movies and TV and stuff like that. Like it seems like the way I process my media and the fact that I process media a lot shapes the way I dream. And it must, because a lot of people used to report in like the Isle of Lucy days that they would dream in black and white. So there's this kind of like zombie vibe, like when you're watching something, when you're consuming content, you're just letting it in at a deep level that you're not even realizing, and then it forms the way you look at shit. Yeah. And then that comes out in the dream. Yeah, that's fucking cool.
Deep subconscious absorption, you know. What's crazy is like this is not really related to dreams, but you ever saw subliminal advertising? Like there was a whole YouTube thing on it.
Yeah, there's frame cut ones where the brain picks it up but you don't notice. Yes. There's stuff where there's sounds in the background that you don't notice. There's stuff where it's like two words back to back make a third word kind of in between.
And your unconscious is processing that and figuring that out. It's like categorizing that.
Or like the Disney, like the dildo in the fucking castle or something. Like
there's a lot of sexual origins to some of those arts. You know, like someone broke it down on YouTube. He's like, draw the dick and then turned it into like a character that we all know. I'm like, holy fuck. That's probably they figured it out. But there was one that was like, I think it was like Iron Chef Canada or something. And McDonald's was their biggest sponsor. And you're just watching it. Someone found it and put it on YouTube. He like slowed it down frame by frame, and it was the finale. Apparently, they had a huge viewership. And just for one frame, McDonald's sign pops up and disappears. And they ended up getting in big trouble for that because subliminal messaging apparently it's not allowed. It's illegal.
It's illegal because it's effective.
Yes,
that's what's funny.
It's crazy. There's a reason why they fucking did that. It wasn't just stupidity. It was.
When they tried to make it illegal, these companies came out of the woodwork and started lobbying to prove that it wasn't effective. And it's like, then why are you doing it? Why are you trying to prove it's not effective so that you can stop the laws? Like, it's so transparent, man. It's like, you think we're stupid, but we are stupid. That's the problem. Yeah. We're susceptible. We're suggestible because now it's superliminal. Yeah. Now, because this is proven shit, okay? If you're thirsty, if one of your biological drives is in the mix, i.e. hunger, thirst, sex, which like they use all the time, dude.
It's the number one seller.
Yeah, dude. You sell a car and there's tits in the fucking commercial. Yeah. You sell wine and there's
look at news anchors. All the females are this beauty figure.
Yeah, thin. Rogan talks about it so well, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
She's wearing a fucking like a cloth to cover her fucking. Like her mid-range,
it's
you
nuts.
know, like the tits the hips down the shoulders is
Yeah.
like the sweet spot, and it's like all you're covering, and then it's just all shoulders and
It's
knees.
really it's a mind fuck when you break it down. It's crazy.
It's literally like softcore porn. Like it's teasing you a little bit. Okay, that's what I was saying though. Is there's studies showing that if you get into, like, let's say you sell someone something like Nestea, let's say, just as an example, and this person happens to be thirsty at the same time, it's like fucking 80% more likely to work. Like if you're thirsty at the time and then you see this fucking bottle of half sugar, half fucking natural colors and flavors, air quotes, and it's like the bottle's got all this condensation on it, and like oh my god, you know, you can't help yourself. And then on top of it, some cute chicks drinking it, or like who knows what.
Yeah. It's so crazy,
dude. And
that's
the
what we're
colors also.
Yeah,
you know, like McDonald's is red for a reason.
Yeah, it's tension grabbing, right?
No, but like these colors make you hungry. Like blue makes you less hungry.
But
If
they
your
were
room
saying
was
the color
blue-
red, out of all the colors, is the one you'll remember the most. When you see red, it's like the one that sticks in your mind.
Red's my favorite color, so I definitely feel that way. I feel like the background of the universe is red, and it's poking out of everything that is red, and everything else is just like on top of red. Like red is so vibrant. Red is so. I guess everyone feels like that.
Yeah,
It's a bad reason to have it as your favorite color.
but that's such a mind fuck, man. It's I'm trying to figure out what I wanted to say.
Maybe this is a dream.
Dude, at least twice or 3 times a day I wonder that. It's like,
Then you're gonna be you're a natural lucid dreamer, dude. That's the fucking trick.
yeah.
You got to start remembering it because you're writing it down, and then you can know if you're lucid dreaming or not. You could have a lucid dream but not remember it. What's the point of that? But the second step is start checking when you're awake, because the only thing you have in common with you being asleep and you being awake is you think you're awake.
Yeah.
In both instances. So if you start thinking you're dreaming when you're awake, one day when you're dreaming, you're going to check if you're dreaming.
Yeah.
And then you're going to know you're dreaming.
So just constantly ask myself that throughout the
Well,
day.
there's ways. There's ways, actually.
Knock on wood.
Well, you can anchor. There's symbols and stuff.
Yeah.
You can prime yourself to see, but those are chancy. You know, like if someone says like I'll see the full moon or something. So it's like it might be broad daylight and you see the full moon, you go, okay, of course I'm dreaming. Or some guy has a tattoo of a full moon and you go, am I dreaming right now? Something like that. But you might not catch that. So like the clock is really good. Anytime you check your phone, anytime you look at the clock, anything like that, always look twice.
Look twice.
If you look and you're like, okay, it's 12:15 or whatever, and then you go, then it's 7:50 and you're like, what the fuck was that?
The problem is
It'll change.
I've recalled a few times where I've actually had lucid dreaming, but every time I realize I'm in it, I wake up.
It's exciting. It's going to happen the first like 10 times.
Yeah.
You're going to shock yourself out of it.
That's what it is.
It happened to me the first like 3-4 times for sure.
Okay.
Oh, the best dream check I have, or they're called reality checks. When you're in a dream, you can like stick your finger through your hand or something. Like there's crazy things like that are common again to people. But the best one I use, and I haven't used it in a while now, but I'm going to start again. I block my nose. If you can still breathe through your nose, then you know you're dreaming, because you're still your body's in the real world. Your body's chilling. So you block your nose and then you take a nice fucking deep breath through your nose.
So you do that in regular life a few times a day, and then in your dream state you might end up doing it?
You've probably even seen me do it a few times. I go like I go like this. I wait like I take a breath and I look at my phone again, and then even if it changes a minute, I just go like this. I just check. I go like, because dude, you can breathe underwater. Like there's weird shit that happens.
Is this technique that you have to maintain, or is this something you do it a few times and then it's just you get a lucid state anytime you dream?
You won't get lucid every time. Some people will start getting like 4 a week or something.
Okay.
Maybe even multiple times a night. You'll
Okay.
get in and out of lucidity because, like I said, it's like fireworks. You know, you're gonna lose your lucidity and get tricked into the dream again, sort of. But I think you should keep the practice up. It's kind of like meditation. You'll get better at it. You'll even just notice the quality of a dream eventually. You'll be like, I'm dreaming. The way your body moves, the way things are lacking detail and then hyper real in different ways. You're like, this is not right. There's just something off, and it becomes a flavor that you start to recognize. But I would say don't let that trick you. Keep checking, because let's say after years of practice, maybe you'll just be in it, you know? But some people are natural, some people are not. Like you wing it and just listen to what's going on. Because some people, they remember their dreams every night. They don't need a journal, but I do. I definitely do.
You need a journal.
Yeah.
There's been I would say, a solid few months, maybe 6 months even, that I barely remember any of my dreams.
Yeah, it comes in waves too. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I mean, I think it depends on
Is it
what
a
you're
nutrition thing? I don't
eating.
know.
Yeah, it depends on smoking weed or not, CBD. Maybe the rapé affects it. Maybe I know DMT does. I know it kind of robs you of your dreams for a couple of like days or weeks.
Really, you find?
That's what I've heard.
I've had
Me personally,
wild dreams on DMT.
Oh,
After
yeah?
DMT. Yeah.
Oh well, fuck.
Oof.
That's just what I've heard, man.
Especially the toad bufo, 5-MeO.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I had a whole other DMT experience the night after. Yeah.
Double your freshness,
The
double
guy,
your
I
fun.
forgot what he called it, but he called it, I think, like homework or something.
I like that.
You know?
That's good.
Yeah, man. But no, I think maybe I do remember it, but I forget it quickly, and it doesn't store in my
It
memory.
slips out of your fingers, man. That's why when you wake up,
Gotta write it down right
the
away.
best thing to do. I'll give a few tricks because that's what we're here for, I guess. It'd be good. First of all, do what you're gonna do, because I force myself to write it because I realize that I remember my dreams more clearly. But maybe just like I started doing this, and I should do it again. Actually, I forgot about it. I had my phone next to my bed, so as soon as you wake up, try not to move too much, because then it kind of like, I don't know why, but you start waking up again, and it starts booting your brain up, and you start slipping away from that dream space. So try not to move too much. That's why you want the dream journal to be right next to your bed. You want the pen to already be there, and you just fucking open it and you start writing.
Yeah.
Writing is definitely going to be better for your memory. It's pen to paper. Really, actually writing is incredible. If anyone's ever studied, and they know, like if you're doing it on a laptop or on your phone,
everything.
it's not the same. Yeah. So it's like, think of it like taking notes, and think of it in the present tense as well. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It helps with memory in general, so it'll help with this. But what I started doing, because I didn't want to, sometimes you write novels, dude. A picture's worth 1,000 words. A fucking dream is worth a bunch of confusing paragraphs of I don't know what. You don't have 20 minutes every morning sometimes to write a fucking novella. So you just wake up, you hit record on your phone, and you just start saying the fucking thing. And then maybe you reiterate it, or you add details at the end as they come. You just take your time, you do it.
There.
Then listen to it later. Listen to it the night of, man.
Yeah.
That'd be even better, is like prime your brain for the dream space. Think of it like this blind spot in your reality, and you're kind of just like warming up to it. It's like a muscle almost.
Okay.
So that's,
Nice. Yeah. It's good tips.
I know my shit.
Fuck, man.
I've been doing this for a while.
You ever had paralysis?
No. Sleep paralysis never happened to me.
I had it once for a year straight.
Ugh.
Every fucking night. It
That's
was such a
horrible.
hassle, man.
That sounds scary.
It was. Every time. I was trying to figure out ways to enjoy it. It was just constant. And the way it would approach me, it was, it would feel like someone just opened my door in my room and just started walking around doing their thing. And then when I know I'm about to really go into the paralysis, because that's the first, like when you kind of wake up but your body's asleep, then I would feel like this in my ear.
That's terrifying. Ooh. What an aggressive doorbell.
Yeah, wow.
That person's a jerk. Yeah, dude, that's terrifying. Oh, I actually know what it's like a muscle spasm in your ear. So it feels like
you know what
air.
it's like like when there's water popping out of your ear and it kind of makes that sound, or you're on the plane or whatever. So it feels like that. It's like,
yeah, totally.
and then I know, I'm like, oh fuck, here it comes. And then I just go into this intense vibration, and my whole body is asleep, but I'm conscious of it, and the whole year I would try to just enjoy it and just like breathe through it. But it's always the same result, me trying to scream out of it because it gets too scary.
And you can't.
And I can't. But then, like, all my might, I'm able to open one eyelid. And then I wake up. It's the weirdest thing, man. It happened, and it hasn't happened since.
It's like you break through the ice or something. Like,
really forcefully, though. Like, all my might.
there's something about those experiences. I mean, I've never had them, but I understand that they're innately terrifying. It's almost like you're supposed to be scared, and that's what creates the paralysis or like imagine you wake up and you can't move. You suddenly feel like all the muscles that help you breathe are not working well. It feels like something's sitting on your chest. Some people actually see something sitting on their chest and
old
like
hags,
laughing at them.
I
Or
think
something.
they call it like the old hag or something.
I
Like,
don't know,
picture
yeah.
an old lady sitting on the chest.
Or like a demon. Yeah, there's like a dude sitting there like, you
It's very
can't breathe
common.
now.
Yeah.
You know, like some fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Or a presence in the room. It's like these things that are like, that get your back up all the same things, all the restriction, like the being caged in, the can't breathe feeling, the something is watching me feeling, they're all suddenly created maybe by this state, or you just feel them because that experience is
You're
being
vulnerable
created.
though. You're paralyzed.
Yeah, you just,
right?
it's like it's a perfect recipe. Like, you have to be scared. But I'm wondering, I feel like you just are scared. Like the way I talk about like our inhibitions and stuff, like your brain is just firing
You're just in a state of fear.
way. Yeah. So
Most probably.
just in a state of fear.
And you're throwing all those outcomes out because that's where you're in that state.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a chicken egg thing.
Because I'm thinking about it, man. It's stressful to think about because I know that feeling and it's just not fun.
It must be, man. I think I'm just a light sleeper. I think I just like pop out. Like I'm never fully. I remember one time when I was a kid, I never forgot this. It blew my mind. I thought I was asleep. I thought I was sleeping. And then like when I was a kid, I used to maybe like play with my nose a lot and get nosebleeds or like the change in temperatures or something. Mm-hmm. And I felt like a little run down my face from my nose. And I hop out of bed and I get a Kleenex. And it wasn't blood, it was just like booger. But I just went like, wasn't I sleeping just now? Like I just got out of bed and I'm like, do I sleep ever? Yeah. Am I just tricking myself into thinking I'm sleeping, but I'm just like sitting still? Like, it fucked with me.
Wow.
I think I'm a really light sleeper. It's a problem, man. Like I put
anything to wake you up.
Almost, man. Yeah. I'm sure if I'm in the deeper states, that it's like, it's like when you ever get woken up and it's like you feel hungover. You're like that. You were in the fucking delta, like deep ass sleep, and you got interrupted. Yeah, that's another funny thing that I've never understood. If anytime you remember your dream, it's because you were mid-dream and you got woken up. So that's interesting. And what's funny is that's past that delta, like past that deep sleep. Because when you're dreaming, you're actually in a lighter state of sleep. Yeah. You're actually like quite awake. Yeah. But you're just. That's
why naps are so important, because you get that 45-minute windows. You get it. What's the state? Is it beta or for the dream state?
No, beta's definitely awake. Beta's like you're in traffic. Okay. Beta is like I'm looking at you. I'm a little worried. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'm like a little anxious. I'm looking at like what are the people around me doing. Okay. You'll get into beta more when you're dreaming, actually. Yeah. I do anyway, like I said, because I think I'm in crowds, or I think about movies, or I think about video games and stuff like that. I think about groups of friends and stuff. It's like you're like, how am I acting, kind of, like you're in a kind of like like the cauldron's boiling over kind of awareness. Okay. Whereas alpha is more relaxed and more in the zone. Okay. And then an intense in the zone is a new one they discovered they call it gamma. It's just a predominant brainwave state, like you're doing all the brainwaves all the time, apparently. And then I guess delta and theta are the sleep ones, the deeper sleep ones.
I've yet to try the Brian Rose I brought up in the last podcast with the tape over the mouth.
Yeah.
Have you given it a try?
No, I'd be curious to hear it, because I sleep with my mouth closed. I even have a kind of a clenched jaw when I sleep. Okay. Like I have bite marks in my retainer.
Really?
Yeah. It's bad.
Damn.
I don't grind, thank God, but like
Yeah, I don't know. I tried with like a masking tape. Fucking hurt. I couldn't keep it on. So I'm thinking maybe like a KT tape would be good.
Oh yeah, that's like made for that. Yeah, a little more, sure.
So the whole philosophy of it is that you
just shave and put duct tape.
Yeah. Wrap it around the whole face.
So someone like I can't even.
It's a disaster. The whole thing is that there's this. I don't know if it's a new study, but it's just showing that taping your mouth when you sleep forces only through the nose, and that's apparently increases your quality of sleep, your oxygen intake. And funny enough, when you sleep with your mouth open, it actually increases tooth decay, because you're drying out the bacteria that needs to work and survive.
Yeah, there's good bacteria in your mouth too. That's what people don't understand.
That 100 billion fucking,
who knows?
It's an insane number, right? Some of it's got to be good.
I don't want to think about numbers, especially when you're talking microscopic or atomic or something.
Jeez.
Xylitol is a form of derived sugar from blueberries, I think, and it actually promotes the good bacteria in your mouth. So it's a sugar that's good for your teeth. Boom. It's highly poisonous for dogs, though, so be careful. Blueberries, the xylitol specifically, or at least it's part of the, like it hurts their liver or something. It's very poison. There's xylitol sweetened peanut butter, and fucking people are feeding it to their dogs and killing their dog and shit. Like, you gotta
Ooh.
be careful, man.
Okay.
One dog, I heard a story in the news that like they kind of popularized the warning, which was that they got into some gum or something, and it was xylitol gum, and they died.
Holy shit. Okay.
Sucks.
Fuck.
Fucking dogs, bro. They can't
They'll
eat
eat
like
anything, man.
onions, avocados. There's like random things they shouldn't eat.
I remember Lily, after her surgery, she had like a container of painkillers, and I gave her a few, but I noticed it fucked with her stomach.
Yeah.
I don't remember how many were left in the container, maybe like 4 or 5. I came home, and somehow these fucking dogs found, it was when my roommate was there, somehow they found a way to it and ate the whole thing, and I didn't know which dog ate which.
Oh, no.
And I called the poison control. They're like, yeah, it's pretty serious. You should bring them in, but maybe wash them for 24 hours. They're still around, so it's good. But
Maybe that
moment
just
of
split
panic,
it half. They're fine, you know.
Try some of this. Try some of this.
They're like, you take one, I take one. Let's see what happens.
I wish they were that smart, but
Maybe they just got lucky or something. I don't know. There's this pill I give my dog once a month. That's like I don't know. It's like for ticks and fleas and shit like that.
Okay.
'Cause I take her in the forest sometimes. And with fucking global warming, there's a bunch of fucking Lone Star ticks making you allergic to meat or whatever the fuck's going on.
really,
It's all that stuff's getting pushed more
Yeah.
north. It sucks. What was I saying? Yeah, so they make it delicious. It's like it even smells like a dog treat. Like it smells like meat.
oh, they're
She doesn't
freaked out over
care
it.
that
Yeah.
it's a fucking pill. It's like I throw it and she catches it in her mouth. Like she doesn't even smell it anymore. It's crazy.
I would
So
have to.
if-
I would have to drug my dog, like without her knowing, like put it in peanut butter. I'm like, you're so easy.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah,
even realize it.
Peanut butter. They don't know what's going on. They're
No.
just like, it's gone.
Take
You're
it
like,
all.
Okay. You could have had a piece of glass in there. Wouldn't have fucking
Anything.
noticed.
Just chewing it away. It's so crazy.
How much time we got? What's going on? Oh, we got a good fucking 20 minutes. It's awesome.
Boom.
So recurring dreams was a cool one that you brought up, and I didn't know how to answer that because I feel like I never really had a recurring dream at the same time that I had my lucid dreaming comforts.
Okay.
And that, like I said, also like there's a strong narrative in your lucid dream, in your recurring dreams, and in my personal experience, I felt like I was watching like a slideshow or a movie or something. One lucid dream I have had throughout my entire life, it's like I'm due. It's been a few years, like it's gonna come up soon, but it's in a nutshell, and I'll try to be concise. The world is ending, and it's like fire and brimstone kind of ending, and I somehow what's happening is the sun is shutting down, and it's like a big artificial structure, and it these beautiful like huge chunks of like metal and shit start collapsing in on themselves and opening doors and shit, and these big like Power Ranger looking fucking spaceships come out, and like one's like big and green, one's white, they kind of look like animals, one's red, one's yellow, like there's just these, and they're just slowly drifting towards Earth, and they're gonna murder everything. It's crazy. And then somehow we find out also that the moon is a weapon against them.
Okay.
It's a crazy fucking dream.
Sounds like a nice DMT trip.
Anyway, that's the nutshell.
Yeah.
But I've had so many versions of this dream, or like it's like I'd lived that scenario in multiple ways. One time it's like a character from a TV show is like trying to rally people together. Another time it feels like I'm playing Duke Nukem, and I'm like playing first person, and I have the little picture of the dude at the bottom with like my life bars and shit. There's been so many versions of that dream. One time I became kind of lucid in the dream, because I was running away because it's like everything's fucking blowing up and being destroyed on the planet, and I roll down a hill and I start perfectly like front handspringing down the hill, and I'm like, this is not, I can't do that. As I'm front handspringing down this crazy steep hill, I'm like huh, huh, huh. I'm like, wait a second, I don't know how to do this. And I realized that I'm probably dreaming, but there's always this doubt, you know, because if I'm awake, I don't know why, I just go like, am I dreaming right now? And I go, no. Because it's like that smell, you know, that we talked about earlier. Like that quality is just not there. There's something real and heavy about reality that's just not in a dream. Yeah. Or it's too heavy in a dream sometimes. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah. But when I am dreaming and I catch myself, I always check like 4 times. I'm always like, this can't be a dream. Like, this is real. And then I'm like, wait a second. And like you know, like I take my glasses off and I can still see, or I block my nose and I go, oh shit, this is definitely a dream, you know, like, because you know, you look at your clock and you look at it again, you go, okay, it's different now.
Yeah. It's literally just realizing the irregular. I can't even say that fucking.
Whatever you're saying broke your brain.
Irregularities.
Irregularity.
That's a tough word today. But yeah, it's when you're noticing those things that are off. Irregularities. Wow.
Yeah, it's inconsistencies. It's like glitches in real life.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh shit.
Like that's not possible.
But then like there's been times when even though I'm sure I'm dreaming, and that like one of the first reactions I have, I just jump out a fucking like 50-story building and I bust through the glass like effortlessly. And as I'm falling, I'm like, I really hope that this is a dream. And then one time that I did that, I was like, I'll know by how the landing feels. And I just went like I'm falling at full speed, and then I just kind of like, I just like stop and like tap the floor.
Sounds like the
and
Matrix.
Just keep walking. Yeah, like it was so surreal, but it's like your fear really governs your experience. Yeah. Which is why lucid dreaming. This is something we haven't even talked about yet. The coolest thing about lucid dreaming, I find, is that it's like it is. I'm trying to think of an analog. It's like you have to believe. You know, like that cheesy Disney, like clap your hands and believe thing, that actually applies in dreams. What you think is going to happen is totally going to inform what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So your expectations, which are usually not in people's control a lot, is suddenly the key to your experiences. Yeah. Like fucking firsthand, you know, like 1 + 1 = 2 with expectations. So it's really fun and really crazy. Like I've had a lot of flying dreams, and I realized that I'd never left the atmosphere. I want to just like leave Earth, you know, mm-hmm. But I kind of have this fear of heights. It's not drastic, but I feel it sometimes when I'm like up on a ladder or a roof or something. And I got into free running even to kind of get rid of it. Yeah. And I remember
a state of like feeling uneasy.
It's a I don't know. I think I just fell when I was a kid, and that feeling is horrible because you're flailing around like a cat in the air, and cats can actually turn around because they have less spine, mm-hmm. and they can bring themselves to land on their feet. I just fell backwards onto my back off a cherry picker when I was really young, and I was fine because I'm a kid. I bounced like whatever, it's fine. But I was so scared, and I think that feeling just stayed with me. And it's like when you're really high up and you can fall. There's like a short rail or like no rail. I get terrified. I get like. It's almost like I want to jump to get the anxiety out. Okay. It's a weird feeling to explain, but I remember at the time I was playing a lot of GTA, and when you fly in the jet, it's very like liberating because it's very fast and there's a lot of control. Like you can control the pitch and just like turn upside down, and then like let's say you pull up to go like you'll go down. Yeah. So I got good at that. I was just flying upside down and twisting a lot, and my friends would watch me and be like, dude, stop, I'm getting dizzy. And I'm like, fuck you, bro, this is so fun. I would go in between buildings and stuff. I would just fly upside down for long periods of time. So I was doing that in my dream, but I was flying like Goku style. Shit. I just went like, bah! And just, and I would go near the water and it would fly. I would like make like big wakes and like water splashing around me and shit. And then I did exactly like I did in the game. I would turn upside down. So now the ground is the sky. Roof, yeah. So then I pulled down to go up, and I just went like whoop, and I went up towards the sky, and I just said, fuck it, today's the day. And I fucking fly and fly and fly, and I'm getting so high up, and I got super scared, and I just started falling. I just like, I don't know why. I just like, I'm up, and I just went like, oh God, and I just like start losing momentum, and I just start falling, and it just kind of turned into a movie, but I'm just like fucking falling so fast, and I crack into the ground. It makes a big ass crater. I don't feel anything. Like I said, it's kind of like a movie. One time I did that again, and it was very similar, almost the same dream, and I got out, and I see like a space station, and I'm so scared. I fly to it, and I open like a door, and I get into the airlock. And I'm looking down on Earth, and I'm like, I did it. But I was still like I didn't leave, you know? Like I felt like I'm in space, like I could still die. It's like if you forget you're dreaming. It's like you can't control your expectations. How
crazy it would be if someone was in the space station and said, you're not supposed to be here, and just grabs you in.
Hey, get out of here.
Oof.
Who knows, man? There's a lot of fun stuff with lucid dreaming because like if you get into the whole yoga of it, you know, like there's some people even say it's not good. Like don't mess with that space. Neurologically speaking, there's no dangers as far as we can tell. You're dreaming plenty. Yeah, you don't have to worry about like messing with some of your dreams. It's like 7 to 10 times a night, right? It's something crazy like
something
like that. Yeah. I think maybe there's 4 periods of, depending on your sleep cycles there, like there's 4 periods of like dream state, but you might have like 3 or 4 dreams in that period. Yeah. So then it's like 7, 10 dreams, you know? Excuse me. Woohoo. What did I eat? I don't want to know. What were we talking about? Yeah, so what a lot of my experiences are, I think, are this kind of personal space. You know, this like personalized symbolic reflection of my psyche, blah blah blah. But I feel like a lot of people talk about you being able to leave that and go into other people's dreams or go into some kind of astral plane that mirrors the 3D world in some sense, and then they can see what's happening somewhere else. They can actually travel and view things and maybe even affect things at a distance or some crazy shit that I've never personally experienced. And I feel like there's that fear. I feel like I have this kind of mentality that I'm like on planet Earth and I've never left the atmosphere, like I'm doing air quotes, and that's just me like not wanting to leave my space and really like kind of take my soul out of my body and just go for a ride. And when they talk about astral projection, I guess it would be, there's all this lore and all these techniques, and a lot of it all sounds like lucid dreaming, but it's like once you get there, keep that lucid state and you know, consciously travel like through these different planes. And then they talk about like you're gonna meet some entities, you know, you're gonna meet some crazy things that are trying to fuck with you, that are just curious about you, that are really kind and happy that you're there. Like
this sounds like you're pretty much tapping into your DMT reservoir in your mind.
I guess
it sounds like that. If you're encountering entities and stuff, you know, maybe that's what astral projection is you're harvesting the DMT that's exogenous.
Yeah, endogenous.
Sorry. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I caught you.
Yeah.
Apparently that's that molecule is facilitating the dream state in the first place.
That's the hypothesis, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the science is, like the modern science is on that now, but that's the theory.
Yeah. So, because I've heard of people talking about astral projections and stuff like that,
where they have a big like tether attached to them, and like a silver
and like as far as they go, they can always refer back to that tether, so they know that they're attached.
It's unbreakable because it's your soul tied to your body until you die, essentially. And yeah, you can go as far as you want and just kind of tug and fly back, kind of thing.
I was hearing people's experiences is that when they astral project, they like get out of their body, stand up, and then they just fly out.
And they see themselves. Yeah. I had one meditation technique that made me feel like I was going in some weird places because I was experimenting with different sleep schedules, and I realized that in certain like forms of napping, your body like will skip into deeper sleep because it's missing it, and it'll skip into REM sleep if it needs it as well. And so I tried to devise a way. I kind of accidentally got there, like a way to dream on purpose. And it kind of worked, but it's like I would be meditating in a room and I would visualize myself walk into the room again. And I don't know why I thought of this. It was just kind of like a fun thing. And then I would sit back where I was sitting, and it would always like jolt me. And I wouldn't be able to keep my eyes open. It was so surreal. It was weird. And I didn't really understand why at the moment. So then what I started doing is doing the same technique, but then I would sit somewhere different.
Okay. And
then I would sit down and I would start meditating. I'd sit next to myself or like on the floor. And so then eventually this room is like full of me.
And this is all visual in your mind.
Yeah, I think that's what got me dreaming, is just the visual exercise. Yeah. So maybe I can visually exercise anything, but it was so visceral. It's like I would open the door, like as if I'm dreaming. It just kind of starts. I don't know where I came from, but I open the door, I walk in, I see myself sitting there visualizing this experience, but I'm living it.
Yeah.
And it's trippy. Like sometimes I go really close to myself and I try to feel my face or like freak myself out a little bit. And it's like I start having this kind of dual experience. And what was cool too is like unconsciously, like just on its own, there would be this kind of like count, like 1 first guy, then number 2 would be sitting over there, and then he would sit down and create me again, and I would walk in, and there'd be a connection, like this energy field going from 1 to 2. Then 3 would sit down, there'd be another field, and then if I walked through the field, it was like a magnetic repulsion. So I would have to like fight it, and then once I got through, it would kick me out the other side. It was such a cool experience.
This is during a meditation.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so then eventually I did it like 5, 6, 7 times. Eventually you don't even realize that you're doing it. You're just walking in the room and seeing everybody and picking a spot kind of thing. You don't even think about it anymore.
Nice.
And then like the other half of my brain just started going into dreams. And then I would just kind of forget about the meditation thing. I'd be in like a deep state of rest, and I would just be in this dreamscape. And then I would wake up, not really having fallen asleep, but I was dreaming. And I was like, holy shit. That was crazy. So it's like I accidentally found a way to like induce dreaming. So anyone who's listening, try that shit out. Tell me what you think. It's fucking awesome.
Well, I've been starting to meditate now.
Yeah.
It's like 15 days in a row now. It's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, it's in prep for Vipassana, but it's also, I just want to make it a habit, 20 minutes a day. Eventually, probably after Vipassana, it's going to be like an hour a day.
In your sleep, dude. It's going to be so easy.
Yeah.
I feel like going again just to get that refresher. Like it's so intense. I'm so happy for you that you're going to go do that.
It's crazy.
It's a weird thing. It's a weird experience.
I'm trying to figure out how to feel about it. I don't have a feeling yet.
I think you'll just be excited. You're going to be there. You're going to be happy, and then they're going to start giving instructions. You're going to be attentive, and then the instructions are going to be clear and constant, and you're just going to be in it, and then you're going to pop out on the other side, like. And I don't know what that's going to be like. I'm curious though. I can't wait.
Yeah, but I'm not one to get excited for things until it actually happens. So it's like I don't have. It's just I know it's coming. There's just nothing attached to that feeling right now. You know.
I guess maybe you're doing it kind of consciously also. Like you don't want to have high or low expectations. A lot of people told you what to expect.
Yeah.
In different.
It's true.
Versions.
It was built up quite a bit, and I think because of all my years of being disappointed in the not disappointed, but underwhelmed in what I thought things were going to be like in psychedelic world, is that I'm trying to apply that to this. Just like
the only thing that ever lived up to it was salvia. Like you just like I fucking like it pushed the delete button on my life, and I was someone else, like just pop, and it's like, oh my god, I smoked a plant and I was gone. Life is bullshit. Like I never believed in the simulation theory as hard.
Whew, it's true, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's an odd one.
But what I like, I mean, like, remember that article I sent you with the Sadhguru dude talking about, like,
That was a great read, man. About ayahuasca.
I'm surprised you liked it, man, because it was a little clunky because he's, like, not an English native speaker, and he doesn't always give reasons for how he thinks. He just goes like, you can get there naturally. You don't need to be thrown up and then crash down. And I feel like I know what he means. I feel like I take a lot out of it, and I don't want to suddenly stop doing these plant medicines and ceremonies and stuff because there's a lot benefit of them aside from the ayahuasca or whatever, so but at the same time I wonder, like, is this damaging or hindering my ability to get there on my own? And it concerns me. It's like, should I be putting in that legwork? It's nice to have something that just throws you into it almost like throws it's like instead of having a map like Buddhism or yoga or something, it's like you have a movie and you fast forward to the end, but that movie is like your life.
You know what it is? I think it's a different
and you're forced
avenue.
back into the middle of the movie. Like you know where you're going now. You know what it tastes like. Maybe you can get there a little more confidently or a little more clearly or a little faster. I don't know.
Honestly, I think it's an avenue. It's reverse engineering the path. You're starting from the end and just building yourself back to where you are right now. That's all it is.
Reversing. That's a good point. A lot of people, like I was talking to a friend recently, it's just a friend from an old job, and he said, I took ecstasy. I took Molly for the first time, and I feel that it opened the door. And we started talking about the doors of perception, like what's his name there? Huxley.
Aldous Huxley there.
And he literally had a door of perception open to him. So he's like, I don't need Molly now, but I had this like it's like going Super Saiyan. Like Krillin had to die, but Krillin doesn't have to die every time now. He knows what Super Saiyan feels like. I'm sorry to nerd out on Dragon Ball Z right now, but it's like a perfect analogy. It's like you needed this acute experience to find that blind spot, kind of like lucid dreaming. There's a space in your reality that you'd never touched before. But now that you touched it, you know where it is. You know the way back, sort of. Yeah. And it might not be as easy, but you know it's there. You have a informed faith, and you can chip away at that.
Nice.
Or maybe it just burst a fucking dam, and you can touch that whenever you want. Who knows?
But that's it. That's why I don't think there's a specific way to get there. It's person to person. You know, I'm kind of more, I kind of have to go to the max and then work backwards. It's always been my lifestyle. Like I told you, like anything I'll do, it's the extreme and then I'll go back to baseline. It's not like starting slow. And that's how it resonates with me. But that question you're worried about of, are you damaging getting to that naturally? I don't think so, because what happens after the experiences is that's the start. The integration is what's going to get you to that next door. You know, you can have a fucking mind-blowing experience, life-changing for that moment, but if you just go back to old patterns, it's going to get washed away like anything else.
I mean, I feel like I had that crash. I had that experience.
Yeah.
So I feel like I suddenly so much was suddenly revealed to me about my inner world. And I became depressed because I realized I didn't have a lot of self-worth. I didn't have a lot of understanding of myself. I didn't have a lot of respect for my own perspective, which is reflected in this conversation right now, because my experiences are kind of thrown into doubt because of an authority figure. You know, so all of it, it's all fractal, it's all happening.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. You know, we have different levels of trauma and we're all working with a mixed bag, and we all have to kind of feel around the bag, and no one else can really put their hand in the bag. You can just kind of describe it to them and see what's going on, or they can feel it on the outside. They can kind of cup the fucking testicles and be like, oh, I think you got this, I think you got that, but they don't know for sure. And there's so many people in my life that are giving me such good advice, but I'm over here and you're over there.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that in like a distant kind of like bullshit way. I try to say it with love for myself, because I'm working on that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I need to work my way through it. And, you know, that Alan Watts's words always come to mind, especially with plant medicines. When you get the message, hang up the phone. I don't know when I'm going to get the message, when I should hang up the phone. But you can always pick that phone up again, you know, like there's no closed door there.
Yeah.
You know, there's no real like goodbye forever. So I can step back. I have stepped back. I had one ceremony months ago, and I just been working with myself. That like, I'm not worried about the ceremony or the plant medicine. I'm just my vision is inward in a constructive way, and as such outward now. And I'm thinking, what can I do with my life? What am I doing for real day to day? What am I cultivating for real? All these fucking left brain kind of informations that I had now feel a bit more in my body, feel a bit more real. And I really have the ceremony to thank for that.
Yeah.
And it was not a fun ride, man.
No.
A lot of people are like, oh yeah, you're depressed now. It's totally normal. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's funny saying about hang up the phone. I remember one ceremony, this girl was there. She's like, after the Sunday when it's closing and everyone shares, she was like, she started crying. She's like, Mother Ayahuasca told me that it's finished. We're done. The lessons have been taught. Like, it's time to move on. And she's like, this will be the last time I will work with this, and I'm so grateful. And like, that was her hang up moment, and I was mind blowing when I heard that. You know, and just like, yeah, that she got her message. She's been doing everything to get to where she needed to go, and this was like a goodbye. You know,
it must be hard.
Yeah, because
of the people also. You know, they're good people, but like, you're not just gonna go there and chill out with them.
No,
they're busy.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, you're not just going there just to go there. It's not a fun experience. You know, it's really like when I shoot rapé up my own nose, I'm not happy. I'm not enjoying this process. I'm literally, it's come to the point now where I smell the rapé, I go, fuck. Fuck. And I'm just repeating, as I'm putting it in my head, I'm just like, fuck, what the fuck?
Honestly, cold showers.
Yeah.
It's all cold shower. It's all Band-Aid rips, man. It's all little classrooms. But I don't know, classroom is like boring and repetitive. This is like first day of school. It's like, you got to learn, but you got to overcome yourself as well a little bit. Yeah. It's not just come in and listen. It's like you got to feel what's going on for real and get over that so that you can learn something. And getting over it is learning something. Maybe the real learning, the only fucking learning. I don't know. Yeah.
Brother,
I got excited. I'm sorry. Are we done?
Yeah, well, you got.
Let's fucking. That's a perfect place to end.